Hello, it's me, Annalisa, with my spiritual friend, and I'm back, and it's Sunday, March 20th, 2022. Happy Ostara if you celebrate. Um, it is the true pagan holiday of eggs and fertility and abundance and bunnies and baskets and all of that good stuff. Hang on, sorry, I have this schmutz right in the middle of my screen, and it will annoy me if I keep looking at it, even though you can't see it. I can. I hope everybody's well. I've got announcements. So I'm working on getting things like having like actual products to sell. I'm working on some better journals and then other stuff that's more practical because I'm a practical kind of girl. And I have a psychic development circle starting April 26th. It's a Tuesday night. Hi, Lauren Jane. It's a Tuesday night and it'll be 8:30 p.m. It's only going to be 4 weeks this time instead of 6. I'm going to cut out one of the last things. I used to have everybody like do little mini private readings and learn to give like little private readings. I'm going to kind of cut that out this time and see if 4 weeks seems to be a better sell than 6 weeks. Sometimes that's a time commitment. If you are interested in doing these circles, but Tuesday nights at 8:30 doesn't work to you, and say you're on a different time zone and a morning time might work for you, like Friday morning my time, Friday evening your time, say you're in Australia or in the UK or whatever, hit me up. Let me know. I can always make that happen. The morning times for here didn't work very well. The last time I had them, they didn't, they were pretty small, which small is fine, but so a little bit bigger. They're going to be limited to 8 people instead of 10 people. And I think a little bit smaller seems to do well too. What else is new? Is everybody well? So today the donations will be going to the Ukraine again. I don't know. That's about it here. That's what I got going on. Check out my TikTok. I'm a little bit more active there than anywhere else. A little bit later today, I'm probably film another practice your intuition type little video with a picture and a envelope. Hi, Julia. I hope everybody's well. Hi, Allie. Allie, I saw you sent me an email. I didn't get to it yet. I'm sorry. We went to, I don't know if any of you have had the joy of going to the Rainforest Cafe. My children loved it, and that is all that mattered. But we went there this morning or this early afternoonish, whatever. So, you weren't late live, Allie. You're here. And there we go. Okay. Okay, so Nicole, if you're here, if you want to go, we can go ahead and start. Let's see what else. Oh, I had this really cool thing happen. I told the story on my TikTok, but I'll share it here. And I'll try to remember the names that I changed. I changed the names because I asked the person permission. I wanted to make sure that it was okay to share the story that the person that I reached out for to share it with. And she requested that I change names for her own personal whatever, or not share names at all. So I just changed the names. And your mom still hasn't called to pick who up? Who's she supposed to pick up? Did I miss something in the email that I didn't? Let me reread this. I just thought, well, you're here, so. Oh, you're going to pick your mom up from work. Sorry, I thought you were saying you were at work and you might be there because I just quick skimmed because I saw you were here. Got it. The list is short today, and you're second on it. Starry Sky made a generous donation, but she said she doesn't have any questions. So, good evening, Julia. So the story is I was working out on Friday morning, and I tend to get like lots of messages and stuff from my guides when I work out. And if you want to start typing your questions while I tell a story, and then that'll work. So I tend to get a lot of messages from my guides when I work out and when I drive, and also when I'm in the shower. And that's pretty common, by the way. If you're in the shower and you start getting a lot of psychic hits, then it happens. But a childhood friend or acquaintance for me, she was closer with a group of friends of mine. I was not as close with her, but when we did hang out and I got to see her, she was always extremely kind, and I really, it was lots of fun. Anyway, she passed away a little less than a year ago, and she popped in and said, "Hey, can you tell so and so that I love her? She's having a hard morning." I said, "Okay, sure." So I sent her a message, and the other friend who's embodied said, "Oh my God, I'm with her right now." Like she already had felt like she was with her, and that was just like such a huge confirmation for her. So it was a lovely confirmation for me too, like that. I mean, I know I do this all the time. I'm here on Sundays. You guys, you know I do this. I've been doing this professionally, but it's still like when you get those validations, because I feel like I'm just like, let me just tell you this random stuff that's coming to my mind. And it's just the validation is nice. And it's still like such a cooler moment too, when it's someone you know, you're not making it up in your head, you know, because sometimes when it's somebody you know that comes through, sometimes you still feel like, even when you've been doing this, even when you do it professionally and you've been doing it your whole life, it's still sometimes you're like, mm. Anyway, that's the story. Hello, Nicole. If you want to, hi, Rathka. Nicole, if you would like to type your question, also, Ali, go ahead and type your question, and Kay, because there's only 3 of you that have questions right now. Unless somebody else has checked out PayPal. I'm been learning about doing online stuff. I've started looking at publishing some journals. They're guided journals, so they're prompted journals for manifesting versus just empty journal books. So I'm started creating those. I've started creating some products, physical products that you can order that are print on demand. I'm not creating them here because I'm just trying to find the easiest, most economical ways for everybody to get what they want, right? Hi, Tamara Forever. Welcome. Hi, Starry Sky. So I'm working on all of that. I'm getting all of my ducks in a row and getting all that. So I'll let you know when I launch the store, and it's going to be an Etsy store to start. And then if anything does well, maybe I'll move it to a Shopify and throw that on my site. But for now, I'll just start with Etsy and see how it goes. And then I'll have the journals will probably sell from Amazon because that's also sort of a print on demand thing. But I just need to get the ISBNs on that. And then I'd like to have the series done, which shouldn't take me too long. But then they'll be affordable and easy for you to get, and they'll ship directly to you and all of that good stuff. Okay, Gia, I'll check. My list is not long. It's only 3 right now. So you're good to go, Tamara. Okay, let me check. Okay, so after Kay, I've got Gia and Julia and Lily. So now you got 6 ahead of you. Okay, let me see. I'm like jaw dropping at your question. Sorry, Kay. All right, let's talk about that shitty reading that you got. Because holy shit, that's a shitty reading. I know I'm trying to watch my language here, but that's a shit reading. Can you just do me a favor? And I'm not trying to be like I never begrudge anybody there, like whatever, but like, please stop going to that person for readings, please. And it's not to say that I'm going to sit here and tell you, oh, like this is all going to work out perfectly, because I don't. I don't. If you've been watching me long enough, I don't do that. But like, that's a shit reading. Like, what the fuck is that? Okay. Okay, I'll check in just a second, Tamara. Okay. I was writing the list like I would write a. So I've got Nicole, Ali, Kay, Gia, Julia, and Lily. Okay. We'll just start with yours, and then Ali, I'll hit you. Oh, Ali, write your question, and then so if you haven't left. Oh, there you are. Will Google pay me well? Does my guide have any advice regarding my career? Did you pay for one question or two questions? Okay. Okay. I'm going to address K's because my jaw dropped for that one. So we're going to address that one. And then remember, I've said this here a lot. So if you're new here, this is what I'm going to say to you. If you're new and you're happy to watch this back and you haven't seen this or whatever, we as readers are filters. Our readings come through, all of our messages come through, and we get these, and our language is developed based on our own experiences and our own belief systems. So if you have a belief system about all of that garbage, that's what comes up. That's one. Number two, the second part of it is we are not on a fixed timeline. None of us are. You can shift things. So if she said that, then perhaps at the time, that's where your mindset was like your self-concept will be such that you have enough insecurities that will create problems in your relationships. So disheartened, you bet, because that's a garbage reading. And it's a garbage reading to leave someone with, right? So that's like going to the doctor and the doctor going, well, you have cancer. It looks like that's going to be shitty. Good luck, buddy. Like, no, when you go to a doctor, they go, oh, that doesn't look so great. Well, let's go for a treatment plan here. Or if you walk in and you have a tear in a muscle or something they don't go like, well, that sucks. Good luck. See how that works out for you. No, they go like, here's the treatment plan. If it's really bad, we got to go to surgery. If it's like whatever, maybe we can do some PT, maybe you can elevate, maybe you can ice, maybe you can rest, maybe you can take some steroids. Like there's a treatment plan. So it really drives me nuts when any readers kind of go, well, that's shitty. I guess because I don't read from that standpoint, because I think we are powerful beings and my job is to empower you, not to like make you walk away from here feeling helpless and weak. So here's what I have to say about that. And this is not psychic. This is just straight up talking to you about like you're saying, how are they going to deal with my insecurities? Listen, everybody shows up because I believe in manifestation and I believe in the law of assumption. Everybody shows up as a reflection of how you feel on the inside. So if you aren't dealing with your own insecurities and learning to fix your self-concept, whoever you're with as a partner probably will show up that way. They'll probably show up, not necessarily that they're doing it intentionally, right, to be mean and nasty, but they'll show up in a way that like sort of triggers your insecurities, right? So if you're insecure about your looks, they might not be outright overtly like calling you names and everything else like that, but you might not get their full attention or feel like they're devoted to you. Not to say that they're cheating. It's just we perceive things certain ways, right? So I'm telling you and then I'm going to look at your future partner and stuff like that. But I'm telling you, don't expect someone to just be like, oh, I'm going to deal with your insecurities. Because if someone showed up to you and you were in a relationship and they were constantly like needy and needing you to validate them, and it's exhausting. It's exhausting, right? It's not your job. No one can make you feel whole and complete and anything. No one outside of you, no one and nothing. So like if you're waiting to feel good until that person shows up and makes you feel good, if you're waiting to feel like, oh, now I feel successful until I have that job or until I get that car, you're going to be waiting, because once you get that, you're going to see that it's an empty fill. And it's like, well, no, I don't feel successful yet. I mean, I have the car, but like, it's all within you. That's where we talk about self-concept. That's where we talk about like mindset. So you need to go in and look at your self-concept. Do the work. Do the shifting the neural pathways, which is changing the belief systems. 99% of the time we are running on autopilot. What are the things you think of when you think of the first thoughts that come to mind in the morning? Like the one I've been trying to work on is I wake up and I'm like, oh, I'm exhausted. I'm like, nope. So I shifted that this morning and I felt a lot better. I just woke up and thought, oh, I'm ready for the day. So instead of saying I'm exhausted, I said I'm ready for the day, because I wanted to make a shift in that. And it does make a difference. But It's you consciously making that choice. Yes, Mariana, you can be added to the list. So, ready for this? Let me find my rock. Okay. So, do you still want to ask that question, or do you want to ask something else now that I've gone through that? Because I also think that that's something really important for everybody to hear, because you're not the only one who feels that way. You're not the only one who's been there. And listen to me when I say, I know I've been there. And the truth is no one can honor, like, I know people in my life, it wasn't like I ever sat around and was like, tell me I'm pretty. But I know people in my life where it's like, it didn't matter how much I told them I love them, or that they were like, I cared about them, or that they're beautiful, or that they're smart, or that they're funny, or that, whatever. They never believed it. And it's exhausting from the other side of it. You want to hear about your partner? Okay. So I do feel like your partner is going to be slightly emotionally unavailable. But I also feel like at the same time, because she's going to have her own past traumatic stuff that she's kind of like holding on the back burner, but sort of working through. And you are going to have your insecurities that get triggered with her. However, I don't feel like she's going to leave you. I feel like she's willing to work through it with you and work through her own stuff. But it's definitely going to be the Achilles heel of the relationship. I don't feel like money is going to be an issue. I feel like, and when I say emotionally unavailable, I don't think she's cheating. I think she's, it feels more work focused and building her business or her growth in her career. I feel like she works more like corporate side of things. So I also feel like she's not really keen on the idea of the institution of marriage. And it feels like that may be a bone of contention. Like you feeling like because she doesn't want to get married, that means she doesn't want to be with you. And it's really more just she doesn't like the idea of marriage, not the idea of this is going to be a double negative, but not the idea. Just want to say that. She's likes the idea of a life partner, but not the idea of the institution of marriage. And that's the only way I can say it. That makes it fine. She tends to be a little bit more adventurous, like as in hiking and things like that. She likes to travel. And they said she can do her job from anywhere. So that means she's not a doctor. Like it feels more like she can travel and work. And I feel like she likes to think outside of the box. So those are the things that are going to really attract you to her. But I also feel like that she is pretty work oriented, and so that will trigger your insecurities. No, and I already said she wouldn't I want her, but her emotional but here's the thing, the fact that you're already worried about that, those should be ideas to you of like, these are things I need to work on. Why? What does it mean when you feel like someone would think somebody else is better? That is about self-worth. You think I'm not worth anybody being devoted to me. I'm not good enough to have that. I'm not chosen. So you need to work on that stuff. Like that should to you, like when you look at that, that should be a self-awareness of, oh, I've got these things that need to be fulfilled. Because you will manifest that. Like if you worry about all that, you'll manifest it. And I'm not sitting in judgment when I say that at all. I didn't understand that in the past a lot in relationships, the way I was manifesting things. And it's not to say, hi, KK. It's not to say that you're bad or evil or you should be ashamed of yourself, because I think, we're all manifesting things and having mindset and things all the time. And um, we all come to an awareness of how we do that and how we have done that. But you shouldn't be ashamed because you didn't know any better. Right. So when you have divorce, there's typically fear of abandonment. You're fearing that someone is going to be better than you. They're going to be like, oh my God, that person's better than me. But why not? And these are unfounded fears. Like it's a lie you're telling yourself that somebody is better than you, that you're not good enough. So why not lie to yourself and be like, they'd never cheat on me? You know why? Because even if someone is prettier, even if they find somebody attractive, even if they find somebody like they enjoy having conversations with them, there is nobody that will fulfill them the way I do. There's nobody that will show up the way that I do. There is no one that will connect. We have a special connection. Why not build yourself up that way? Why not shift that neural pathway? And it is, here's the thing, with the changing the neural pathways, it's a constant. It is something that you have to continue to work on. It's not like, okay, I set that into stone. And now it's like, you still have to like walk over the path occasionally and like keep the weeds out and keep the under, when I talk about it being like a forest, a pathway through the forest, those hiking trails don't show up because somebody plowed through them with, I don't know, whatever those things are called, and put asphalt down. I'm like all the tools in the yard that I don't know the names of. Nobody, that's not how they're made. They're made because people walked those paths over and over and over and over. So think about that. Your subconscious belief systems show up because you were thinking about that 70,000 thoughts a day over and over in all different ways. I get it. I was there. I think the longest relationship I had before I met my husband was 9 months, because I was also like, if I can't see myself marrying you, see ya. Like no sense in staying. And it's because, and so there's a lot of self-doubt there. And I do feel like, so did you listen to what I said? Maybe we need to go back and listen to what I said. I said that I felt like she will have her own set of stuff she's dealing with. She will trigger you, that she will be slightly emotionally unavailable, but her focus is going to be more on work rather than like on other people. Right. But that's all her own stuff. And then I do feel like she's willing to be self-aware enough to see that as a problem and work through it with you. But my advice from them too, and from my own history, so this is the friend part of my spiritual friend, this is the friend part of the non-psychic stuff. The friend part says like, okay, but like also work on your shit. And I say that with lots and lots of love, but I'm not going to sugarcoat that for you, because do not make the mistakes. Like these are all really obvious things. And I wish that when I would have gotten readings a long time ago, I would have had somebody to just tell me like it was, because I appreciate that. I like the truth. I like it nice and clean and neat. We all have to work on our stuff. That's like why we became humans, to work on our stuff. So it's not, also, does anybody when you if you ever do any camera work, do you ever feel distracted looking at yourself? Like I'm like, oh, the intense gaze. That's why some of these questions are really good where I'm like, okay, this isn't really like you need to ask a different question, but here, like this is when you show up for some of these things and you watch, I'll check just a second, Tamara. When you show up for these things and you watch, it's you're gonna get like cross information that's really fantastic because we all struggle with some of the same stuff, you know? Yes, Tammy, I have it. I've got two for you. Did you want to? If not, I'll refund one of them. Bye, Kay. Hang in there. Okay. So, Nicole, are you here? And then Allie, you wanted to ask about, oh, hang in there. Tamara, hang in there. Okay, Allie, let me see what you wrote, dear. Oh, here we go. Nicole wants guidance on school and work. I'm starting to second guess everything. I don't know what's they're like, oh, because I asked and I was like, what's going on? It's like it feels like you got a curveball thrown your way, and they're sort of like, we're just like you just struggled a little bit, if maybe not a great grade on a test or something like that. And they're like, we're sort of just saying, do you really want this? Because if you really want it, you can have it. We just want to make sure this is the time for us to make sure. It doesn't feel like you shouldn't do this or like this is the worst mistake ever. So they're reminding me of the time I'm going to be this. This is when usually I'm like, so I was taking it was anatomy and physiology. I don't remember what it was. I didn't have great study skills. I think I thought things were harder than I made things harder than they should have been. Like always, like every single professor in nursing school was always like, you're like really way over reading into this. And one of my teachers at a point was like, are you sure you think you should be a nurse? And her saying that was like, because she was like, maybe you shouldn't be one. And I was like, you like, I'll show you. Like, that's always like anytime anybody's in like, you shouldn't do that. I was like, I'm gonna show you and then some. Like, so it sort of feels like it's that kind of a moment of like you had something happen where it wasn't great. Like I think in her class, one of my like I completely failed a test, like completely bombed it. And I walked into her and I was like, what am I doing wrong? And it was basically like I just needed to straight up memorize everything. That might have been pharmacology. And pharmacology is literally just that's the drug stuff. Like just memorize. And they didn't have all the cool games and stuff that they have now. It was just here's your book. Figure it out. So then I was like, okay, I just need to buckle down. Like, and that was like, and then the next test I aced, like completely aced. So it just feels like it's like that. Like it's just the universe throwing you a curveball. And they're sort of like, do you really want this? Like, this is the or get it off the pot time. But you can do this. You're perfectly capable of doing this. You're smart. So stop worrying about what other people feel about a career. I used to listen to people all the time, like, and I just like ignored them. But in nursing school, I'd be like, oh, I hate this person. Oh, they're so terrible. They're so, because they were harder, or they didn't like my Spanish teacher in high school. The one Spanish teacher that nobody really like, that was not their favorite. They always like the really nicey nice ones. I didn't learn anything from the really nicey nice ones. She was really, really nice, but I didn't learn anything. I excelled in the classes that everybody else hated. I did great and I learned better because you know what? The teachers weren't really nice, but they made sure they taught in a way that I learned well. So it just feels like just because somebody says they don't like something, you have to remember, number one, complainers are always going to complain, and they're always going to be the ones out there being like, ugh. The ones who are happy aren't complaining, they're just working. Have you ever read reviews for things? I always take those complaints with a grain of salt. Unless I know the person and know their work ethic and know who they are, I always take complaints with a grain of salt. It's not to say that I don't like, but when it's like on that personal level, unless they're making a complaint directly about somebody and it's like shocking and like abhorrent, but if they're just like, oh, it's hard. Working in the medical field is hard because you are dealing with people when they are at their most vulnerable. Nursing was hard. It wasn't being a nurse that I didn't like. I liked being a nurse. I didn't like the bureaucracy. I didn't like, I didn't want to join every committee in the world so that they could keep some magnet status or whatever, blue ribbon status. I can't even remember what it was called anymore. I just wanted to be a bedside nurse. I didn't care about a million different degrees because I had zero desire to move on into management. I don't want to be in charge of people like that. I don't want to have to deal with people not showing up for work. I don't have to deal with, like, I don't care about those things. I just want to go to work and do my work. I'm good with that. Except for like this stuff. Like I like growing my own business and doing work, but I love working with people, clearly, because I'm still working with people. So just take it with a grain of salt. And also, that's the universe throwing you a curveball. Go shadow someone who does the work. That's my biggest friend advice. Go find somebody. See if you know somebody who knows somebody who's a speech language pathologist. See if you can shadow and see how you feel about it. Talk to them. Talk to somebody who's really working instead of reading a meme or instead of reading a complaint. Because I promise you, all nurses at one point or another, all of us complain about the work. Because it's hard. And it can be really thankless at times. And you can feel like a number of times. But it's not being a nurse that sucks. It's usually, there's staffing issues and payment issues and all of that stuff. But I knew a lot of speech language pathologists, and I actually never heard any of them complain, or OTs. Most of them really like the work. And how did you feel about your 25 hours of shadowing? Okay, now let me look at what. So you're going to be fine, Nicole. I don't feel like you're changing. It just feels like the way they're showing to me is it's just a curveball they're throwing at you right now. And then it's sort of just to be like, do you really want this? You felt like it'd be worth it. So go back to that and trust that and stop listening to people outside of you. This is the outside validation that you do not need. Trust yourself. That should be all of you. All of you should have that affirmation. I trust myself. I trust myself. And the only shame should go on the people that made you not trust yourself. Well, the pandemic conditions suck. I mean, they do. And I said this, like I did the little things. I thought that we would probably be like having stuff with it till 2024. And that's the truth. And astrology apparently shows that too. Who knew? All right, Allie, my dear, let's focus on you. So you want to know about Google Pay and you want to know about I have started doing this week back into doing meditation because also just because I have been a stress ball and I have felt not centered and not grounded. So, like, sort of guided by my guides, my higher self, to be like, advice regarding career. Okay. To be like, you need to do this and focus on you. But I came across a really cool one this morning and then I did. So I was doing some Joe Dispenza ones, and I've been waking up in the morning and doing them and doing before I go to bed at night. Just, like 20 minutes tops, like nothing, no like hour long anything, because I just don't have that in my thing. But oh, Rathka, I got your payment in Venmo. Oh, hi. I just realized who Rothko was. Hi. Sorry. Just threw me for a loop. I don't know why I didn't recognize it. Now I can't think. You got me all flustered. Balls, what was I doing? Oh, the meditation I did. This really cool one this morning. I've only done it once, but I found them and I want to do more of them. And I totally recommend this to everybody because it's just cool. Why not? So apparently the CIA released this stuff back in, I think, 2003 about this astral travel or what it was. But these were they're called hemi-sync meditations. HEMI sync. So your hemisphere, your right and left brain syncing. And I had like some really, like, I had this like jolt of a vision at one point in them, but then one of my kids came in and was like, wah! And so like it stopped, but it was like of me. I was small and I was standing next to a woman and it felt like Victorian times. And she had kind of a worn, like, not so fun face. Like she seemed very, and she was touching a picture next to her. And then she like looked down at me and like grabbed my hand, or I don't know. I was in a child's body. It was interesting. But it reminded me of when I did those deep meditations. When I do group meditations, I love going into group meditations because I always have really great, I don't know. So if you look into something kind of cool, they're called Hemi, HEMI, sync, like syncing, SYNC meditations. Okay. All right, Allie, let's go. I've never done it before, and I just like first time, so I'll keep you guys posted, but I really thought they were cool. Okay, Allie, so will Google Pay you well? I feel like you're going to be around $15 to $17 an hour. So not great, but not, it doesn't feel like, it feels like intern level payment. It doesn't feel like great, but it's not free. So you're not doing a free internship. So that's good. And that's sort of temporary anyway. So, and then, where did my rock go? Ooh. Did anybody see my rock down on my lap? So I heard let go of the expectation of exactly where you want to go. And I know this goes against all manifesting stuff that I always say, like you can go wherever you want to go. But it feels like because it's more about for you, the experience you want to have and the payment you want to have, and you're trying to match that with where you want to go. And it feels like, but we have somewhere that would give that and better. So it's sort of like for you, focus on like the experience you want to have in the work environment and the payment you want to receive and the benefits you want to receive. And they're going to go with somewhere better. And I don't feel like it's Amazon, but they're saying like A2, like they're actually showing me the milk A2, but I don't feel like it's actually the milk. So there's something with either A squared, A something. Okay, well, I'm just leaving her the message and then she can just listen back to it. I'll send her an email. I'll respond to her email. Thanks, Tamara. Okay, Gia, Julia, and Lily, if you guys want to ask your questions. I have to say, I know more. General message from guides. Okay. Gia, are you here? I'm getting this weird awareness and I don't know what this is, but it's like, have you been having either migraines or having something where you're having a lot of dizziness? So the way they're showing this to me is, it's going to sound weird, but almost like a shunt, um, like that they might put on somebody who has hydrocephalus. So like too much fluid in their ventricles. And so it would drain some of that cerebral spinal fluid, and the little shunt goes down behind their ear and then it feeds in through their stomach. And I asked this because I just feel this like they're showing me this feeling of having like a hook. I can't even explain it that other way. And then all of a sudden I felt really kind of dizzy. So I don't think that you necessarily have hydrocephalus and so you have a shunt and that like maybe the shunt's blocked or whatever, but it's the feeling of having a lot of dizziness. So have you been having like dizziness and nausea? Mariana, I didn't forget about you. You're on my list. Don't worry. I just haven't updated my list. So after I have Gia, Julia, I'm working on Lily, Tamara for 2, and then Mariana and Rafka. You get migraines in your right eye. This is my right side. Okay. Have they ever looked at the, why is the word escaping me? I know it's the reason, but that's not where I want it. The source of why they think you're having migraines. Because I kind of wonder if there's not a vestibular issue or something like that, where it's like, so your vestibula is in your ear, but you know, those kind of run behind your eyes in a way, or like around your, I don't know, it kind of all goes in there. And do your migraines give you dizziness? They've never investigated the source. Do you get dizziness with them? Like even like feeling completely off balance? You got COVID? Are you getting dizzy with the COVID? You've been really dizzy. Okay. I'm trying to ask them about like why they would show that to me, what's really important about that. And I I'm like trying to think of how to say this. Not I'm not trying to scare you. It's just sort of like they're not saying like, oh, she's gonna have an issue because I'm like, so is she gonna have an issue with cerebral spinal fluid? Is it gonna create an inflammation like cross the blood-brain barrier? Is there gonna be a thing? It's like, no, but it just feels like also you might have to go to the doctor for it. So don't ignore it, like let things get really bad. And I can't figure that out is if you're gonna need a steroid maybe to help out. But it feels like there's gonna be something that you're going to need that's not over the counter to help with the inflammation. No, I mean, it's not that I'm not, I just feel like it's like this is one where I don't feel like you'll be febrile or anything like that, but it feels like it can't I get the words out affects you neurologically in a way that you're going to need some sort of steroid or something to help you get beyond the symptoms. And there might be like maybe there's going to be a secondary ear infection or something like that. But again, you might need a steroid for that and also an antibiotic. But so it feels like at some point, probably go in and get checked out. It might be in like 2 or 3 days. You can go in sooner than that, just saying, but I feel like that might be when it hits you. And it's funny, I don't feel febrile. It feels like, and I feel like you're going to need somebody to drive you. I feel like your teeth are going to hurt from it. So pressure, like filling your sinuses kind of thing. Like it's almost like the way they made me feel like is almost like it's not draining the way it needs to. And they're also sort of saying stop pushing yourself because it's like you're doing more than you should and you should just like get comfortable resting because that's what you need. You need to be laying down and resting and like it almost like feels like positioning your head just right to kind of open everything up. And I know I'm like asking, like, what else do I need? What does she need to know? And they're like, she needs to focus on herself right now and taking care of herself and not like pushing and pushing and pushing. Cause I feel like even you're like, well, it's not as bad as it should be. So you're like still like trying to like clean and do laundry. And they're like, it's okay to rest. So, Gia, did you ask your question? What's coming up for you in the next few weeks? Okay. And then, so I've got Gia and then Lily, then Tammy for 2, then Mariana, then Rothka. Gia, what's coming up in the next 2 weeks? Sorry, Julia, your energy is like lingering. All right, don't laugh. I'm just going to clear the air. It's a little sage spray if you're wondering. I just want to look at something. I just want to look at Gio what your non-screen name is because I don't know why this feels important. Okay. It just feels like right now you're going through a stage of being stagnant. It felt like things are going along okay, but it still feels really stagnant. Like I'm working on manifesting, I'm working on all of these things, but I feel like I'm sitting here in a puddle of mud. And they're showing me like Peppa Pig playing in the mud. It's like have fun in the mud. Like it doesn't have to be this stagnant, like feeling stuck kind of thing. Enjoy where you're at. I feel a lot of this feels around like creating abundance and wealth. It doesn't feel around love as much. It feels around like career and work and just feeling like it's not moving the way I wanted it or imagined it to have happened. I don't think that this is completely correct, but the way they're showing me is just so I'm going to say it the way that I'm getting it and then see if we can apply it to what you are because I don't know any other way to put it. But it's this feeling of like, so say you start a store and, or even when I started my business, right? So I was like, I would put my business cards at the grocery store and I swore somebody was just taking them off the walls because I'd be like, where the hell did they go? Like somebody did not want them to be there. It wasn't the feeling of like, oh, a million people took them and I'm getting all these readings. It felt like someone was taking them and throwing them in the garbage. And it was this feeling of like, I'm putting this out there. I want this from the universe. And it was just stuck and stagnant. And I didn't understand it. And the way they're showing me is stop seeing it as being stuck and stagnant and things aren't moving for you. Start seeing it as your name being out there in rooms that you've never stepped foot into. And that like, we're working behind the scenes for you. So this is the time to really just dig into the faith of like, start remembering all the things that you have manifested before. I feel like I have to say this too, though, with the NSAIDs, you need to watch your kidneys on that. So if you have any kidney issues, and I think Cambia is probably a prescription anyway, so you'd have to talk to your doctor about that. Just covering my butt. Oh. But I also feel like there's something vestibular why you get these, because they showed me like the cochlea in the ear, like literally showed me like a medical drawing of the cochlea. So it might be a something vestibular that's creating that's not draining right, or there's a nerve pinch there or something like that. It might be worth like asking a doctor, is this possible? Do we do a CT or an MRI for that? Like, how does that work? Show curiosity and see if they talk to you about it. So because really then all you're doing, if you don't find the source of what's going on, then you're just masking symptoms and not really focusing on the source. And if you don't focus on the source, then it like never, ever, ever, ever goes away. Thank you for recommending that. I'm not saying don't recommend it. I'm always saying covering my butt here, okay? um, so it just feels like, does that make sense when I say that? Like they're just sort of saying like, find the joy in the moment and understand, just like sort of like, it's coming. I'm not worried about it. It's like when you place an order with Amazon, it's coming. I'm not worried about it. Hey, Allie, I did your reading, so you're gonna have to go back and listen to it because I didn't realize you were gone because I was just rambling and moving through them. So I answered both of them. So if you'll just like watch it back. Gia, do you want like ask a question that's a little more specific in regards to that, and I'll look into that. Sometimes like they're just a little bit less specific and they're a little bit more vague. Um, it just feels like that feeling of being stuck. They're talking about, when do I feel unstuck? It feels like around it feels May. It may start to feel unstuck around April 30th, but it's just this like lagged time that I'm getting. So it's sort of this feeling of like, or it's like, say you were to start an Etsy store and like you'd feel like, oh, I'm not getting any sales, I failed. And they're like, no, no, no. It's just like the right thing has to come around, but people are looking and people are noticing. I don't know exactly what that is, but Lily, Tammy, if you guys gonna type your questions. Do you want any clarification on it, or are you good with that? So I'm just writing and drawing, and I'm because they're talking, and I'm like, okay. And I was like, oh, what happened? It's like, oh, they hit a rough patch a little bit. And I was like, oh, who? And it feels like you and your husband. And I feel like it feels more like a lot of stress and tension, a little bit more bickering, or not as he's stressed about. It feels like it's not that he's not getting the work, it's just feeling the weight of having your own company on your shoulders. And so some of that he's really creating himself. Okay. They're talking about your husband right now, so hold on. And I feel like you're feeling the weight of like just that, and then like feeling the weight of the responsibility of everything else. And then also your own job. So I was like, well, is his like business okay? They're like, yeah, his business is fine. It's like all in his head. His business is fine. It's all in his head. That's what I said. His business is fine. It's all in his head, but I feel like he's feeling the weight of it. Like it's still stressful. So you could say, not like I said, the business is fine. He's got lots of it, but it feels like there's a lot of responsibility with it and a lot of weight with that. And I feel like he's feeling that. Okay. It's going to go Right now I'm with Lily, and then Tammy has 2, and then Mariana, you're up. Okay. Um, you want to ask about your son. Can you give me your son's first name? And when I say it's in his head, not that it's failing, but just like he's adding stress to it, like, oh my God, it's like I don't want it to fail, blah blah. Blah. And I was like just keep doing what you're doing. Benji, okay. So is he a little bit neurodivergent? Like I'm like maybe ADHD. It just feels like a little bit more disorganized. So not hyper, but just a little bit more disorganized, or feeling like he experiences the world just slightly different than others, and feeling like things are a little harder for him than they are for others. And the feeling I get is like sort of they're like, Mom, it's not your job to find his path for him. This is part of his journey and part of him like sort of going through this struggle of not quite feeling like he meets standards. Like he's seeing his other friends doing things and making decisions about things, and he's like, why do I feel like I don't know what I want to do? Why do I feel like not as focused or not as organized or not as centered? Ouch. So it's sort of like you have to take the mom step back and say it has to be, it's like it's not your job to do it for him. Um, he gets annoyed like when you're like trying. I feel like from a loving place, you're like, oh, you know, you could do, and like you come up with this like grand plan, and he's like, and he gets annoyed because he's like, I'm trying to talk to you because I'm frustrated, and you're giving me a solution, and I don't want a solution. I need a place to dump and have someone listen. I need like a information dump, and then just have someone hear me and see me. Because I also feel like he knows what he wants to do. It's just he can't figure out how to actualize it. And he doesn't want somebody to solve it for him, because then that becomes a part of his problem where he feels like all of my friends can do this on their own and I need mommy to help me. He's like, I don't want mommy to help me. I'm just talking to her because she's safe. So it's sort of like take the pressure off and just be like, you'll figure it out when you figure it out. And that's what he needs. He needs that like pressure lifted from him that he has to know it right now. It's an insane thing our society has where it's like by 18, you should know what you want to do for the rest of your life. Why? Because if in all standards you've got 60 years ahead of you, you're supposed to figure out in the first 10 what you want to do for 60 or 18. That we, I mean, because when you're old, like, you know, you're not really starting to really think about that stuff. I'll look, Allie. Hold on. So I also feel like he needs to know, like, every operating system is different and has its own little hacks and tweaks and things. So, like, his friends may be operating on a Linux and he operates on an Apple and he's on the OS. And so he needs to like run his computer like OS, not trying to run it like Linux. And that's okay. Bye, KK. Thank you. And it's okay for you to just take a step back. Because our jobs as parents isn't to like do everything and make everything easy, because growth doesn't happen when it's easy. It just doesn't. Everybody beats to their own drum. He just has a different drum. Tammy, what's your questions? And then Mariana, if you want to ask your questions. And then Rothka. You're welcome, Lily. Oh, your question's above. Sorry, dear. I'll check it. My spirit team keeps telling me about a connection coming. Once for me, I pulled it and saw communication coming as well. Okay. You don't have to repost. It's good. I saw it. I just want to reread it again because there was a couple conversations in between. Tell me about a connection coming through. Okay, I got it. Hang on. So I actually feel like they said it's coming in within a week or so, so it's much less than a month. But I don't feel like they said, but it's gonna start and it's gonna fizzle a little bit. It's just gonna feel a little not depressed, but just kind of bummed out, disappointed. And it's like, but then it comes back around a few weeks later. So it's not like the person ghosts you, but it just feels like maybe they have to travel for a couple weeks or something where there's like a disconnect for a few weeks and then it comes back around. And it does feel like it's not a like fiery relationship. It feels like it's a pretty snail's pace relationship. But the feeling I get is like it's okay with you to have it be a little slower. I feel like there's the way they're saying it, this hesitation after falling off the horse, kind of getting yourself back up, dusting yourself off, and like riding again. And that hesitation, there's that. So to me, that means coming out of having relationships that are not so great, traumatic even. And so it's sort of that learning to trust that it's safe to open yourself up. But remember, I said one of the best mantras that we all should be saying is, I trust myself. Yeah. So I feel like it's coming in. I don't feel like you've met this person yet. It feels like it's coming in within the next week and a half or so. And then it feels like it's like kind of dead for a little bit. And then it comes back in and it just feels like it's going to be slow. And that's okay. Like there's going to be hesitation and there's going to be like a slow build to the connection. So wouldn't even say like, oh, we're dating. It feels like we're just getting to know each other, chatting kind of real slow for a while, actually, a couple months. Hope the list is not closed, but it's the link to make a payment is below, and 30% is donated to the Be Strong Foundation, which is through Bethany Frankel, to give to Ukraine. Okay. And they just said, Tammy, this is about your healing journey. This is a really important part of your healing journey. You know, we're never, ever, ever fully healed. I hate to say that, but there's always new stuff to heal. And that's okay. That's part of being human. The shadow side is important. You know, everybody wants to just be positive all the time, but the shadow side is what lets you know, like, where growth can happen. So it's like sort of move with that in gratitude, you know? Oh, well, maybe it is him then, but I just felt like it felt like really, I mean, I'm happy to be wrong. Maybe it may be somebody new. And then what's your second question? Did I see a second question for you? So the feeling around Allie, the feeling I felt around Google, I'm sorry, I thought that you meant that about your internship, and it just feels like that might be, it might be, they might hire you. So it might be that they might hire you. It's short term and or it spurns out to something else. I don't know. I know that like Google is under the parent company of Alphabet. So maybe they put you in a different section of it under a different name. I don't know. I got 2 payments for you. I did, and I answered both questions. So did you do a third one? And I got you Hope. Okay. So you'll be after Rothka. Okay. And it, okay. I thought so. Okay. Tammy, general reading. So they said you've been focusing a lot on like doing card pulls and like sort of that personal stuff. And they're sort of like you're missing the big picture about your growth and your like. It feels like they're showing you more work that you need to be doing on a spiritual level. And I actually feel like using it to, so I don't know, do you do tarot reads for other people? But it feels like you're supposed to be using your connections with spirit to help and guide others as well. And they've been giving you something, that a direction you're supposed to move and do in order to grow your business. Do you do this on the side? Okay. Okay. So it feels like you're supposed to be doing more with this. I'm not saying not doing the singing thing, but it feels like you're supposed to be doing more with this, and that's going to help you really bring in more money. So it's like if you're manifesting money, they're like, we keep telling her she should be doing this, and she's not doing this, and she should be doing this. Why? This is your green light. Because it feels like you really need to be, you're great at channeling and helping others, and that's the direction you should be going. And not that that's the forever, but it feels like when you're trying to manifest money, they're like, we've got all these ways, and we keep reminding her and we keep telling her, and like she's not, it's like you're getting the little pull, like, oh, that would be nice, how would I do that, that wouldn't work for me. And they're like, that's why we're telling you to do this, because we want it to work for you. Are you going to move to Austin? So live in South Austin and keep weird. You know what I mean? Keep it weird. Okay, Mariana, you asked about your house. Hang on, let me see. Trying to find a house to buy and getting outbid and other issues. Yesterday in Orange, that would be great. And thinking of bidding. This one is the house I can get. If not, selling next month. I feel like the house is going to have 2 offers. They might take yours first, but or theirs first, like another person's first, but then it like falls through because they can't secure the pre-qualified thing, whatever, first. And they have too many. If it's like strikes against them or something, and then yours goes through. Your house is going to sell no problem. So that's like, that feels like a non-issue that's going to go no problem at all. And I feel like it'll go into like a bidding thing. I also keep getting the feeling of like needing to like, they're talking about something about like access to something that's not on the market yet. So through your realtor, access to something that's not on the market yet. Like, maybe it's a client reaches out to her or something where it's like access to market. So it might be that like you step away from this other one that's in Orange because it like you get outbid by one other person, but I feel like they might end up coming back to you, but you may already be working on a house that's not technically on the market yet, where it's like your realtor goes, hey, I have somebody who approached me about selling their house. Would you be interested in it? It's like perfect for you. It's like you have an option then between 2. You're welcome, Tamara. I do feel like it'll be nearby. I don't feel like you're moving far. Hi, Jason. I get that. All right, Rothka, what was your question? And Hope, what's your question? And then I think that's it on the list. You're very welcome. Yeah, the pay will be good, Allie. It felt like what you need to do is focusing on not so much of where, but the what you want, the pay, so you're sort of sitting in this like powerless energy, and they said, just decide what you want as far as pay and benefits and not so much the place, and they can make it happen because it feels like the place that you're focused on doesn't match the wants. Like they're not as generous as this other company would be. Sally, these are paid readings. They're $12 a question. The 30% I donate to each week. I donate 30%. Sometimes I donate more. Like last week, I ended up donating 30 to the Ukraine and 30 to the ACLU. And this week, I'm just going to do 30 to the Ukraine. Usually around the holidays, I donate 100%. And okay. Can I have his first name? I don't need a birth date or any of that stuff. Sally, these are paid readings. I think I said that. Preston. Okay. And you can delete that if you want to, now that I have it. So, there's a link for payment. Okay. Preston has a very buzzy energy to me. So it feels like his brain goes a mile a minute. He feels very, very smart, but he feels like so like he's just got a lot going on. I feel like he talks really fast, and there's almost like I don't want to say neurotic, but like he's very nice, but he's and I don't feel like in a bad way. It just feels like very detail oriented, very he's very smart, very, very smart. Thinks very fast on his feet. Answers just come to him. Details come to him. He's a great problem solver. You donated again. Okay. Shelby, these are paid readings. And just above your comment, there's the link to pay for them, and 30% gets donated to the Ukraine. Okay. Okay. So okay. So I do feel like it'll be a successful relationship, but they're asking me to tell you this, that it's really, really important. It's not that he's not observant of your feelings, and it's not that he doesn't care about your feelings, but I feel like he's sort of the person that needs to be told very directly, like, these are my needs, this is my love language, this is what I want for a gift, this is what I really like, hey, can we do this? It sort of feels like don't throw the bait out there of like, well, I said it this way, like I kept dropping hints. It's like he's not good at picking up the hints. Like as observant he is of other things and seeing detail oriented on emotions and things like that, he does much better with being very direct. And he'll respect it, and he wants to honor it, and he wants to like, he's open to your feelings, and he's open to emotions and communication, but it the expectation for him to just know is going to create issues. So to circumvent that, you're best off in a relationship with him. So he might be slightly neurodivergent, and it's just better to be very direct and very literal and very like, don't hint hoping he'll get it. Don't beat around the bush, because it just feels like that doesn't work. Yes, Tamara, I got that. So I was waiting for you to ask the other question. So go ahead and ask the other question. That's fine. Just ask your question. Just ask it and I'll find it and we'll go through it. So it does feel like it'll be successful. The area where it would be difficult would be that of you having this expectation of like, I dropped the hints, and I'm like, he needs direct, very direct. Ah, Allie, stop that. You're manifesting all of that. Instead, flip the idea of like, I failed so that I could get the best job. It shifts the energy. But it does. It feels like he's a good match. He's very smart, and he's very he has a gentleness about him. So, and I think that that's something you really need and deserve. Tulio's feelings towards you? Okay. And then Rothka, I'll get you. So I heard like he feels like you're the one, like, or there's like a heavy interest in that sense. But I also feel like there's a delay in it. And I don't know if it's that it feels like there's a third party, but I don't feel like it's like he's with someone else, but it feels like there's some reason why he can't be in a relationship right now, or like there's creating this distance. So I don't know if it feels like an obligation, like a job or something, that it just feels like there's. Hello, Scopes. Hi. Opened up to each other. He went quiet, then the connection fizzled, and he went New York with family and coming back. Oh, okay. So then the third party could be like the family stuff of like just he's sort of busy with all of that. So I want to put it to you this way, and this is the friend part. This is not the psychic part. If you went to visit your family, there was a distance and you didn't get to see them that much, and your friends are there, and you're going to be busy. And it's not that you're not thinking about somebody else or that you're not still interested in them. It's just like you're sort of busy with time. So it's not about you. It's not about you. It feels just more like, Van, these are paid readings. They're $12 a reading, and just above, maybe I should just make this a pinned. I'm going to pin the comment um, of the link to make the payment. So then that should always be at the top there for you. You can see it. And 30% goes to the I usually do the community food bank, but I've been doing the Ukraine lately. So as a friend, not as the psychic, I'm just letting you know, it just feels like, it doesn't feel like he's not interested, and he doesn't feel like he doesn't like you, or like, but we can get in a headspace where we look at things as like, oh, must be me. It's not. And the reason why you're still feeling connected is because there is a psychic connection between the two of you. And he does think about you, but he's like busy. I mean, I've always lived kind of away from family, either lived like, you know, across the country. And so when I go back, which I haven't been back in a long time, but there's always people to see and things to do, and things that I want to do that I don't get to do all the time, or places I want to eat. And so I sort of remain busy. And it's not like I don't want to see people or don't think about people, but I just, doing my thing. And then when he gets back, I feel like he'll reach out again. No, that's your own stuff. That's your own manifestation. And so what you need to say is like, it was fine for me to share that stuff. It's safe. It's good. He handled it well. Because if you go into the space of like, it was too hard for him, you create that. That's the law of assumption. Don't go to that space. All right, Rothko, I'm going to start with yours. It's funny, I can feel your headache now that you said that. But I also feel like your ear chakras are opening up. Have you been having more clairaudience experiences? I know you're not going to want to hear this. But you know your grandma that you don't like so much? I feel like she's been around you. Just be open to connecting with her on your own. I don't know what's going on with my hair here. I feel like you need to be open to connecting with her on your own and healing that, because I feel like she needs to make amends in her own right, but it's like it feels like it's not supposed to come through somebody like me. It's supposed to be you through your own meditation. I feel like this one is on your, it's the one you've told me about. So I don't know if that's your dad's mom or your mom's mom that um, from when you were around 15. And I can't remember if that's your dad's mom or your mom's mom. So I'm sorry. Yeah. So I feel like, yeah, like way back when. And I feel like you need to go into a meditation and connect with her, because I feel like there needs to be some healing for her that needs to happen. And I know you're like, oh, who cares about her? But it needs to happen for you too. Like it's a double release. And when we talk about healing for the generations, it's not just about healing belief systems and moving forward that way, but it's also like allowing for that disconnect and that release of that cord that's kind of kept you there. And forgiveness isn't about saying like it's okay how horribly disgusting you were to me. It's just about saying you don't have control over me anymore, and I'm willing to let this go and move forward with my life. But it feels important that she has something to say, but she needs to say it directly to you. And I feel like you need to have that experience of that rather than me saying it to you. And you can do that work. And I know you can do that work. That's why I'm saying that. I also feel like doing this helps move your business forward. I feel like there's going to be an important conversation or connection that you're going to make with somebody while you're there, but it's not a person that's physically where you're at. It's going to be somebody back in the United States that you're going to connect with, and that opens up for a contract and an agreement. And as far as your podcast, it feels like maybe disheartened that it's not where it's supposed to be, but it's where it's supposed to be, because it will grow. And I feel like it's going to grow more in academic circles and then expand from there. Like that one is playing the long game. So it feels like you're sort of in this energy again of like, sort of like I was talking about with, I don't remember who it was, about the stagnant energy and feeling like I have all these manifestations and like, what's going on? Where are they at? And it's sort of like if you order something on Amazon, I don't worry about where it's at. I know I'm always going to get it. And even if I don't get it when I'm going to get it, I can just call and be like, hey, Donna Marie, these are paid readings. They are $12 a reading, 30%. I donate to this week. I'm donating to the Ukraine, and pinned above is the PayPal. So if you want to pay for one, that'd be great. And if not, you could just watch. Maybe you'll glean a little information. And Van, I have yours. Tammy, did you pay for 2 more readings? I'm super confused. Oh no, I see. It just came up weird. Oh, Tammy, you paid for 4 readings. Where are you, Tammy? Are you still here? Okay. Okay. Okay, a spirit guide message, and what was the first one? Okay. So you write those and then I'll do Rothko and then Vans and then I'll come back to you. So it feels like, you're as much as you may feel stagnated and feel like disheartened. So I'm going to use this as an example. In February, I was like, first of all, it was still early in February. And I was like, oh my God, it's almost March. And it was like the first week of February. So I'm like, where is my time? It's like my time felt like weird. And I was sort of like, oh, I'm not really doing that much. But then I looked back and I actually made more this February than I did last February. And like this month, I had a lot of readings last week, and that's kind of like, or the week before last, I'm kind of quiet or whatever, but I've still made more this March than I made the previous March. So, like, it feels like just because it feels stagnant doesn't mean that things aren't happening, and you sort of need to look at it differently and maybe look at it overall growth. I don't know. It just feels like you're doing better than you are, and you're just feeling like it's not where you want it to be, but it's going to get there. Okay, so I did Tulio's feelings. Okay. And then your second one is a general reading. Wait, do you want spirit guides message or do you want to know about Tulio? And then Van, what was your question? Let me find you again and see what your question was because you asked. Just donated. Like to know how Jose, if you will see Jose soon. Okay. All right. Good. I'm glad that was helpful. So, this is weird the way they're saying this. So it says, I said, will she see Jose soon? And it feels like yes, but under like weird circumstances or not intended circumstances. So it's not like you're setting up a date and it's planned. It's like you run into each other and I feel sort of like a disappointment around it, but I don't feel like it's because he's with someone else. It just feels like maybe not happy news surrounding around the connection. And I don't understand what it is, but it feels like it's good to see you again, but not this way. I appreciate you too, Radka. Van, are you here? So I'm not sure if that makes sense, but it just feels like you'll see him again. It feels like soon, but it feels like not under a great circumstances. And then I feel like there's they're showing me as like going for a walk and talking and like I don't want to say commiserating, but it's like an emotional bonding, supporting type communication. Manana, these are paid readings. So I'm probably going to be bouncing off soon. So if you want one, then you need to get on and pay quickly because I tagged the PayPal. So I don't have the hours and all of that stuff to do the super chat and blah, 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 blah. So this is how I have to do it. Van, are you here? Here? Are you here? I actually feel like like Jose is a pretty emotionally supportive kind of guy. So I feel like I keep feeling like you'll see him like soon, like this week. Okay. So Tamara, how will Tulio be your boyfriend? So I sort of answered this in the first one. I feel like this is answering the same thing. So it feels like he'll come back and then it would be like a slow progression through so it's like sort of it doesn't feel like crazy hot and heavy fireworks everywhere. It just feels like a slow progressive build in a relationship. And it doesn't feel like you necessarily consider each other girlfriend and boyfriend for a couple months. Like it's a little while. It's a slow progress. So what they said was right now. So I was like, oh, so what's her general reading? They said it's time for her to focus on herself. It feels like you've been procrastinating on your own dreams. Like you have dreams for, it feels like building a more creative business. So creating designs and things to sell. And it feels like it's time for you to focus on that a little bit and not worry about Tulio because that sort of will come into play. Like you just need to change your focus a little bit, know that that's coming around and not worry about it so much. I keep smelling like, I don't know, you baking or can you smell bakery goods like cupcakes or cookies or something sweet like a vanilla smell to it? Are you burning a vanilla candle? Did you buy something vanilla-y or sugary, vanilla sugar? Because that's I all of a sudden I could just smell like a vanilla sugar, warm vanilla sugar type smell. So I know that's a weird confirmation, but that can be a validation and a thing to say like, you think your roommate did. Okay. It's like I can just smell that. So that can be a validation of what I'm getting. So it's like sometimes the stuff I say is like kind of vague. Like I feel like it's not super specific, but it's future stuff. So I think that's why when some readers do stuff, they like to do readings based on like just mediumship and giving you super valid stuff so that you know it's connection. But like when you're asking future questions, it's kind of hard to do that. Van, I hope you can listen back and hear your thing if you're not here. All right. And I think I have everybody. I'll just check the PayPal payment one more time, just in case anybody snuck in here and paid. That's it. I'm just going to give you a tip on mañana about this. And don't go in the energy of, I need this job so much, because it's sort of then we'll keep it at bay. I got the job. I'm not worried about it. They're going to give it to me. It's done. I'm the best candidate. Like go like shift that energy right now with the knowing. Shift it right now. I got the job. It's done. I know it. I'm not worried about it. It's really important for you to shift that energy. All right, so I'm going to say good night. I will see you guys next Sunday. I do more lives then. You can check me out on my TikTok, which is my underscore spiritual underscore friend. I never, ever, ever solicit anybody for readings. I will never email you. If I email you and give you a reading, it will be, hey, I got this message, and I will give it to you, and that is it. I will not ask you for money. So if you want a private reading, you can go to my website and purchase a private reading. All the links are listed in the description of this video below. I have opened up a psychic development circle, which will start April 26th. It will run for 4 weeks. It is limited to 8 people. I help you learn to give messages. I help you learn to connect with your own intuition and develop it on your own. So I give you the skills, I teach you, I help you, and then you can actually develop it on your own from there if you choose. You get the validation and the chance to do actual practice and readings and getting validation in the moment of your abilities. I am participating if you're in the New York tri-state area, but closer to the New Jersey side. Manhattan's an easy travel to South Orange, New Jersey. I am participating in an event hosted by Kim Kasanov Coaching on April 30th. It's a spell jar making, and I will be doing readings there for every single person. It is limited to 20 people. You will also get a Kirlian aura photography done. So if you're interested in that, I think the link is for that below. If not, it's connected. I post stuff on Instagram with it. I send out an email with the information. So if you go to my website, you can sign up for emails. You'll get emails. That's it. And I only do 1 email a week. I'm not a harasser. All right. Have a good one. I'll talk to you later.